Hello, everybody. I'm in the process of grading your work. Just a couple of points, particularly about the timeline. Many of you went ahead, and I think this is kind of a mimetic thing. I don't know if you watched or participated in an earlier sort of video watching, that I pasted here, a few weeks ago. Timelines are generally excellent. I want to be very clear, when we're talking about historical events that affected families, we're not talking anything that you yank out of history and then go, it affected families. 9/11 did not affect that many families at all. So you can't just people were just kind of grabbing historical things and putting them in there. That said, some people had some excellent observations about history of legislation that affected families. Think about it. Think about your family and mine. The only argument that you could have made that 9/11 affected a lot of families is if you were talking about military families who got to, where one of the mother or the father was a service personnel and they got deployed. There were millions of those. You could argue that. Assassinations, in some cases, no. In other cases, perhaps. But folks, there's plenty of stuff. Depressions, hurricanes, local, like the GM plant closing in Dayton, tornadoes. Those affected hundreds of thousands of families. Not 15 families or 20 families or something that you yank. The space race, the invention of social media, no. These things, they're historical events. How do they affect family structure, or how have they changed everything? You could make an argument. Cell phones, yes, maybe, but I mean, you had to really tie that in, with families. We're talking about families, and you couldn't just grab some historical facts and go, and it affected families. No, that's not going to work. But people had excellent work that they were doing on legislation, that affected families, the Civil Rights Act, the Same-Sex Marriage Act, and so forth. So that was one thing. Number two, some people had some issues with Module 4, which is due. They couldn't access substantial material. I have sent those to you in 3 PDF files, the content files, okay? Other than that, the rest of these links should work, okay? I'm sorry for this disruption, but we've had unprecedented issues with IT here. And the third thing, if you are doing if you've elected to do a service learning project, you have to remember the following. Do not click on those links. Do not go there. We can't do that because of the pandemic. There are specific criteria that I've had to impose post pandemic on that project. Don't do that without talking to me first via email, and we'll have a conversation, and we'll see whether or not that's something that you can effectively do. What, you ask, might that be? If you are currently in a volunteer organization or currently employed in some social service organization that affects families, then you can interview the gatekeeper, not the people who are, not clients directly. You can't deal with them. But please talk to me. Let's have a conversation about that before you go off. I'm starting to get feedback from people outside of the class, other folks. Okay, so please, email me and let's have a conversation directly before you start going to somebody over here who's not directly involved with teaching the class. Okay, that would be me. Okay, so please keep this stuff in mind. Again, I'm grading your work. A lot of great in-depth analyses, but there are a couple of problems. I did start off just emphasizing those, but certainly it's generally been an excellent job. So I'm going to be catching up on some grading. I'm working on this historical timeline, and we'll be looking at other grades. I'm going to be grading tomorrow, so be looking for your grade to appear in the grade book. Okay, thank you.